Barreto 30 SG, 31 horsepower, 900cc, Briggs & Stratton Vanguard, carbureted V-twin gas engine, hydraulic powered cutter wheel with 700 series green teeth. Bandit SG-40, 38 horsepower, 1000cc, Kohler Command Pro, fuel injected V-twin gasoline engine, belt driven cutter wheel with 900 series green teeth. And we got two very similar stumps. I believe these are both silver maples. They're almost exactly the same size. I think this one is a couple inches bigger around, but that one has a bigger root ball, so should be about even. I'm going to do this one first with the Barreto, and then do that other one with the Bandit, I think. I will set a stopwatch on my phone to keep an accurate time and try to grind them to approximately the same depth. that went pretty well. I just went and kind of raked around and got most of the chips up into piles, because he's going to come back with a brush truck with like a clamshell grapple on it and just scoop up all the excess. We had this third one over here that was a Bradford pear, I think. Ground that up with the Barreto. So as far as the times go, I clocked the Barreto at 35 minutes to do the stump I did with it, and the Bandit at 30 minutes. That's not as big of a difference as I was expecting, and it might be because I have more experience with the Barreto. I've used it a handful of times, and this is really my first time using the Bandit for anything. But despite that, I think I actually like the Barreto better, at least based off first impressions. The Bandit definitely has more power, there's no doubt about that. It has a bigger engine and it delivers more power to the cutter wheel, but that's really the only thing that I like better about it. For one, the controls on the Bandit just suck. There's really no sugarcoating that. They're terrible. Where the Barreto has two variable displacement pumps for the track drives, which makes it very smooth and easy to control, the Bandit just has one fixed displacement pump, which makes the track controls very jerky and sort of erratic. It's basically just full on or off. It's very difficult to feather the controls to precisely maneuver the machine, which is really annoying when you're trying to creep just an inch or half an inch through a pile of chips to advance the cutter wheel a little bit and take another bite at a stump. It's also aggravating when you're just driving around to get into place, because the tracks are so short front to back and they have so much weight hanging off each end that anytime you go over a bump, it pitches a lot, and if you try to turn, it swings side to side, and basically the controls are just always trying to jump out of your hands, which is really aggravating. Another thing I don't like is the cutter head controls. You can see on the Barreto where they've got a joystick for left and right, and then this lever here for up and down, so you have two functions and you control it with two hands, and that works just fine. But on the Bandit, they've got a single joystick for up and down and left and right together, so you're trying to control two functions with one hand, and I find that much more difficult. I don't know, maybe I just need to get better at it, but it's just hard to keep track of where you are with both functions with just a single stick. I don't know, it's difficult to describe exactly why I don't like it, but it's not as seamless and precise as having two sticks. Another thing is you can see where the Barreto has two cylinders to swing the head side to side. The Bandit only has one, which means that it swings faster one way than the other because the cylinder has less volume when it's retracting. So in this case, when the head swings over to the left, it goes quite a bit faster than when it's swinging to the right, which is really annoying when you're trying to keep a constant speed going through a stump. Now Bandit does give you a cool little flow control valve, which is that knob there that hopefully you can see, but that's kind of overshadowed by the fact that they only have the one cylinder, so if you get your speed dialed in going one way, it's going to be too fast or too slow going the other way, so it doesn't do you much good. And for the record, the Barreto does not have an adjustable swing speed control, which I wish it did, but it's not a huge deal. But probably the biggest issue is the difference in the width of cut between these two machines. So I've got them both at full lock, and hopefully you can see how far past its tracks the Bandit cutter head comes out versus how far the Barreto comes out. And keep in mind, the Barreto is a wider machine as well. I actually decided to do a little demonstration here and just cut a line through the dirt with both machines to demonstrate the difference, and it's pretty dramatic, I think. Let's see if I can measure this. I'm looking at about, hold it steady, 5 feet, give or take. And then for the Bandit, it looks like about 3 feet and 3 inches, thereabouts, just over 3 feet. And here's the rake over the Barreto's mark. You could almost grind up the whole rake in one pass. And that's it over the Bandits, and you can see it's quite a bit narrower. I consider that such a big deal because where the Barreto may be able to do a given stump in one pass, to do the same stump with the Bandit, you're going to have to stop and reposition, and that takes time, and you're going to get lost in the chips and lose track of where you stopped, and you risk leaving parts unground, and that's on top of all the problems I just complained about trying to maneuver the thing in the first place. So while the Bandit is definitely more powerful and it can make a cut faster than the Barreto may be able to do the actual job faster on account of not having to stop to reposition because the swing is so much wider. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a couple other little kind of petty things that I don't like. The controls on the Bandit swing out like so, side to side, but if you swing them to this side, you can't see what you're doing because the belt guard is in the way. And if you swing them to this side, you get blasted by hot air coming off the engine the whole time, and you still can't see what you're doing as good as you can on the Barreto. Also, the center of gravity on the Bandit is quite a bit higher, and kind of like I mentioned before when I was talking about the tracks, it's a lot tippier, less stable, which I don't like. Now it is worth noting that some of the instability is no doubt due to the fact that the Bandit is narrower. The Barreto is just under 3 feet wide, whereas the Bandit is just under 30 inches wide, looks like. So that's definitely something to take into account if you need to get through narrow gates or what have you. Also, I feel like the control issues with the Bandit are somewhat exacerbated by the fact that it goes a lot faster than the Barreto, but even still, I feel like if the Barreto went the same speed, it would still be easier to control. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that I didn't talk about, so if you have any questions, just leave a comment and I will do my best to answer it. Thanks for watching.